All right. It's going to check the feed.
Hey.
Ooh, sounds amazing.
Sounds good.
But that's per the usual. We all know that.
All right. Sometimes.
Sometimes this podcast is worth listening to.
Hey, I clicked the right one.
Turn the fan on.
Good job, buddy.
All right. You about ready to get started?
Oh, hey, Jeremy, can you hand me my
Hello,
iPad?
Moose Pie. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Just in case I need to reference anything.
Did you just say? Oh, you're welcome, Strauss. Did you just say Moose Pie?
That's
Sorry.
what their name was.
That's what their name is. All right. Well, welcome, Moose Pie. Moose Pie. Why is that your screen name or handle or
No, they
whatever
jumped
it is?
I don't think they. Well, hey, Nagau's here.
Hey, Nagao.
We say hello to our Periscope friends.
The first couple that show up.
Then after a while, miss me, Nagao. That's nice.
Tell you what I miss: the opportunity to own my own personally constructed 223 AR-15. That's what I miss.
He's asking if you'd like a lower.
Would I? Yes, I would like a lower. I thought I've made that clear like 1,000 times.
He also says too dang bad. All right.
All right, let's get it going.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Yep. You got music and everything ready to go?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go in 3, 2.
Hey, this is Adam from Three-Headed Eagle. Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can check out more great content on threeheadedeagle.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. New episodes of our podcast go live every Saturday, so be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher.
Today's Supreme Court decisions reflect the state of American
terrorist
politics.
arms
That's
crossing
your
the
money.
southwest border
That is
from Mexico.
your money.
Has the federal government kept us safe, or does it just want us to think that it has kept us safe?
It's the battlefield of ideas. Ideas, inspiration, information. Welcome to the Three-Headed Eagle Show.
We are back for another wonderful week. Adam, how's it going?
I'm having a fantastic week. I am in good company this week.
Excellent, excellent. Jeremy?
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, one of my heroes died this week, but aside from that, I'm all right.
I don't want to think about it right now. I just want to enjoy my
You just
quick trip, iced
crying
tea.
out loud.
Just give me a moment. I'm beat today. I am so tired.
We do.
But now I got my little caffeine going, so
You're feeling it? Feeling
I'm
good?
I'm good. I'll make sure I show the logo for Periscope for the sponsor that doesn't ever pay us. QT, there you go. All right, so okay, we can talk about it now, Jeremy, because I know you're very upset.
Oh, yeah.
I literally stopped me dead in my tracks. I'm not even joking. I was walking back to my bedroom, looking on Facebook, and I think Adam, you posted. I actually saw it off of our own Three-Headed Eagle feed, which is how awesome we are, I might point out. But literally, yeah, Antonin Scalia died this week.
Yeah.
And, regardless of what you think of some of the decisions that the Supreme Court has been doing, regardless of whether you agree with the guy or not, you got to look at it and go, you know what, this guy was vocal. This guy had principles, and he stood by them.
He's fearless.
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to call out somebody if he thought that they were doing something wrong. Not if he disagreed with them, because disagreeing is a completely different thing. You're allowed to disagree. But if he thought that you were abusing your power in the court or in the Senate or wherever you were, he was going to tell you about it.
Yep.
So, we're going to miss him. I mean, regardless of what we get as a replacement. And I say what intentionally because I'm not sure it's even going to be a person. I don't know. Obama could appoint a dog, and it wouldn't surprise me that much. But
I used to think when I was younger, I used to think it was two guys, Anton and Scalia.
Antonin Scalia.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I thought it was this double team of these two guys who just were like always on the same page all
Like
the
they were
time.
Siamese twins. You thought I thought it was like Siamese twins that were one
No.
Supreme Court justice.
Nope. Justice is
So-
Anton and Scalia. You know, I'm just glad we just lost Scalia. Anton's still in there. It's good.
That's freaking horrible. It's too
Too
soon.
soon?
Man. It's too soon.
You know when people say things and you hear it and you're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're
Like,
what?
I thought when something was official, it had been bona fide. I thought that was a verb which had already occurred. Yeah. I didn't realize it was bona fide, right? I thought when you make something like official, you bona fide it. And if it is official, it has been bona fide. So it's like, yeah, that is bona fide, man. I literally thought that probably till, I don't know, somewhere in my teenage years, and then I saw it in print, and I was like, bona fide, bona fide. Oh, bona fide. That is two different words.
What's the for all intents and purposes?
You've
And
told me this one
all-intensive
before.
purposes.
You thought it was all intensive purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've told me that one before. That one still cracks me up, and I still think of you every time I hear somebody say it. Now I'm like, strong.
Yeah.
So you think it's gonna be a big change now that Scalia's gone?
Yeah, one way or the other. And that's what I really wanted to talk about. Look, I like, may he rest in peace. I honestly, like, we haven't had a politician die in recent years that has actually made me go, wow, am going to miss that person even though I've never met them.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna miss Antonin Scalia. Gonna miss his decisions. Been reading a lot of them while I'm in law school. And
His dissensions are awesome.
His dissenting opinions are even better. But but yeah, I'll miss him. But we've got to talk about his replacement. And Obama's got the constitutional right to replace him. And there's no constitutional provision that says, unless he's in the last year of his presidency. But there's also no constitutional provision that says the Senate can't just say, no, we're not going to approve that guy. We're not going to do that. And so I want to throw it out to you guys first of all, and then I'll tell you exactly what I think. But let's just say the Obama does appoint somebody. Let's say he actually goes, you know what, Antonin Scalia was kind of a conservative guy, but I'm kind of a liberal guy, so I picked a centrist. Okay, this guy's just in the middle. And I think you should approve him. What do you guys think?
I think you just evaluate the individual on their background and their merits, and if they fit the job.
So you're saying don't look at that where they are politically speaking. Just what if they're a raging liberal, and we're going to replace the most conservative justice with a raging liberal, and you're a senator, right? And you actually get to vote to approve or not to approve. But this person is well qualified. They've been in, let's say they're taken from one of the Circuit Court of Appeals. Mm-hmm. Okay, taken from the Ninth Circuit.
Okay.
That's how liberal they are, right? But they're well qualified. They've been there for a long time. What do you do?
I think most people would just go with their personal ideology, right? Like, you're just going to be like, oh, I'm conservative. I want a conservative in there.
Uh-huh.
Or I'm liberal. Oh, yeah, it's great. Let's get a liberal in there. Finally, the conservative's dead. Let's get the liberal in there because that's what they agree with. I think most people, it just comes down to that. Rather than just being like, okay, who's going to actually, like, interpret the Constitution in the court of law the way it's supposed to be held, regardless of their political ideology.
But I think people on both sides could argue that that's what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like liberal judges don't think that they're intentionally going against the Constitution all the time. I think some of them probably are like, well, it's better. This is better than what we have, or this is the only way we're going to be able to get this passed. But I don't think they're like, yeah, I'm definitely out to destroy the Constitution. You know?
I don't think they'd ever say it out loud, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was one of them that actually thought that.
Right.
They said, no, you know what? If you had an actual 100% progressive justice, they said, you know what? I know that we're never going to get rid of the Constitution through amendment because amendments are just too hard. I know that we're never going to have a revolution because revolutions just lead to dictatorship. And they want to maintain their power, of course. That's part of being a progressive, right?
Right.
They want to be the one holding the ball when somebody scores a touchdown. So they go, you know what? The very best way to do it is just to pick it apart a little bit at a time through court decisions. So, actually, when you phrase it that way,
Right.
is it that far-fetched?
Well, yeah.
But that's how you make progress, right?
Well, I mean,
Progress. That's
think
why
of
we
it.
call them
Our
progressives.
president-
yeah,
Yes.
you make
Our-
progress by
chip
taking
it
it apart.
away.
Our president
Bit by
did
bit.
study constitutional law.
I know.
But I think the difference between a progressive and a constitutionalist is that concept of like one studies the Constitution to figure out ways to skirt it, while the other one studies it to figure out ways to abide by it.
Right. So, but still, Strauns gave me a roundabout reaction. He said what most people would do. But what I want to know is Senator Strauns, Senator
Yeah.
Adam, your vote, right? Raging liberal comes up. Approve or not?
No, I don't
No.
approve.
Don't approve. Vote against. So you're going to vote against because you do not want a liberal Supreme Court justice to
Probably.
replace Scalia.
Yeah.
I'm
'cause
selfish like that.
Well,
I am too.
I don't think that they would interpret the Constitution properly based on how
Well, see,
I do it.
Now that's interesting because that is a reason to not see. To me, because I don't like you is not a reason to not approve somebody, right? And because I don't like your politics might not even necessarily be a reason to approve or disapprove somebody. But if you honestly believed that, for instance, Sonia Sotomayor, when they kept on asking her, I think it was Sonia Sotomayor, when they were confirming her confirmation hearing, they kept asking her, would you stick to the Constitution, the black letter definition? I don't remember the exact questions, but she literally was turning it into jokes. And just like, well,
Skirting it every time.
skirting it every time. Well, I think, what about the constitutional definition of X? Well, xylophone spelled with an X, and there's no sound in that, so you know what I mean? It's like, you didn't answer the question, lady. So
Yeah.
anyway.
It was really uncomfortable if you watched it.
Yeah,
I watched
it was
parts
really-
of it where I was like, "What is happening? Is this real?"
Yeah, she literally was telling jokes.
Well, because she
time.
knew
But-
she knew she'd be appointed, and she didn't care.
Yeah, well, and at any rate, so what I'm wondering is, or what I'm trying to say is that if you get a Sonia Sotomayor in there where you're actually having somebody that you believe this person is not going to follow the Constitution, and the Supreme Court is supposed to be the last line of defense against the Constitution, I therefore don't think they're actually going to be a good Supreme Court justice, so I'll vote against them. So it's this fine line between I don't like your politics or I don't agree with you, and I actually think that you're not qualified for the job. Because you can have a great resume and still not be qualified for the job.
Yeah, that's true.
So if the Republican Senate does choose to not confirm whatever Supreme Court justice gets thrown out there, I hope that at least in the media, let me rephrase. I hope that for their own benefit and for the benefit of the country, that they're actually basing their vote on, do I think that this person will follow the Constitution in their decision-making process, and not, do I like them? Are they pretty? And by the way, here's my official prediction. I think that to skirt that and to make the Senate look really, really bad, if they do not confirm, my official prediction is that we'll have an African-American woman appointed, which I think would be a brilliant but scary move by President Obama.
Why do you say that?
They don't want to not confirm an African American woman. It's a double.
Because then you'll just be a racist, and
You're
then it's
a
a
racist
political
and
year,
a sexist.
and the party that is the racist, sexist party then perpetuates when the Clintons always hold the black vote extremely strong,
Yep.
and it would actually hand them an election.
And all Hillary would have to do is go, see, racism and sexism. There they are. They showed you, and they know that. And you've got what was the stat I heard today? 7 senators up for re-election in states that Obama won last election.
Yeah.
So they're up for re-election, and Obama won their state, meaning they're basically up for re-election in swing states, right? And so it's like, yeah, so easy for 7 senators. What is it? 54 Republicans right now.
Something like that.
Just subtract those 7. You're below the majority now.
Right.
So yeah, I think that they'll fold if Obama appoints an African American woman, or at least another minority woman, to avoid being called a racist, sexist bigot. They'll fold and they'll appoint and they'll confirm whoever it is. And it would be brilliant on his part, I might add. It's
You're
brilliant
probably right
political
about
strategy.
What I see the article, they were joking that he should just appoint himself.
What's that?
Obama should, he should say, you know, I'm done being president pretty soon.
I haven't.
So I'll just, I studied the Constitution. I could be pretty good. So what about me?
I heard. I haven't been able to confirm this. I don't know if you guys have. Did Hillary actually say that she thought Obama would be a good Supreme Court justice? That she would consider appointing him?
I don't know if she said that, but she very well could have.
I heard somewhere. You going to search that for me, Adam?
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the article I saw was more like tongue-in-cheek, kind of like joking around.
Well, I actually heard, Hillary was asked, and it could have been, The Onion or something, somebody repeating something stupid that they saw, but I heard that Hillary was asked, who do you think would make a good Supreme Court justice? Who would you appoint? And she said, Barack Obama. He's a constitutional lawyer. He knows his way around politics. Oh, he'd be great. I'm like, yeah, how would you like that swap? Antonin Scalia for Barack Obama. Did something inside of you just die when you heard that? Because I just, yeah.
They're just saying that she said it was racism that was behind them trying to block an appointee, a new Supreme Court justice.
No, this is going back before that.
Oh, wait a
this
minute.
Wait, racism is why they don't want... No, it just...
Obama on Supreme Court. A great idea, Clinton says.
Okay, so that was real. Unbelievable.
And this is saying January 22nd, 2016.
Yeah, it could be. I mean,
Well,
it sounds like something she'd say.
A few weeks old.
What did she say the other day? The shutting down the banks that won't end racism and won't end sexism. Did you see that? I don't know. I saw it the other day. It was so funny. So you want to talk? I want to talk about a thing I saw on Facebook. Do you have it, Adam? That little clip, the little, not a meme, but what do you call it? It's like the image of the Bernie Sanders thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got it. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, pull it up.
All right. So essentially, it's a picture of a nut, like a bolt and a nut. And
hardware.
yeah,
You
yeah,
get
yeah,
it at
I saw
Home
you
Depot.
you get it at the hardware store.
Yeah.
So
Home Depot.
The comment,
Another shout out to a sponsor that doesn't pay us.
The comment is the anti-Bernie idiots are okay with this, but go crazy when he wants to use money to help middle class, all capitals. So I was supposed to yell it, which includes me and you. Then he posts, "This is a nut. It can be purchased at a hardware store for 80 cents. The Navy was buying these nuts from McDonnell Douglas,
Yep.
for $2,043. Okay?
And then it says, share this if you're tired of government giveaways. Okay? So there's this nut, and according to this image, I haven't fact checked this, but let's just say it's true. Let's just say it's true. There's an image basically saying that the Navy was paying $2,000 for a little metal nut that you'd get at a hardware store that normally costs 80 cents. And so it says, share this link if you're tired of government giveaways. Okay. And then the person who shared it said, the anti-Bernie idiots are okay with this. They're okay with the government spending $2,000 on a nut, but they go crazy when you want to use money to help the middle class.
Can we just clear this up real quick?
Yes.
3 people at the table. Are we anti-Bernie?
Sure.
Yeah, anti-Bernie.
Sure.
Anybody okay with them spending
No.
$2,000?
No.
Okay.
I saw this and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know who looks at this and is like, the government, $2,000 for a nut, go private business.
Number one, if it's McDonnell Douglas, I have a hard time believing that it is this nut. That it's okay, even if this $2,000 statistic is right.
It could be like a huge one.
Huge something that goes on an airplane. McDonnell Douglas does aircraft and stuff like that, if I remember right.
If the Navy's buying them, maybe it's for some, like an aircraft carrier.
Yeah,
It's a big old nut.
Right, and it has like 9,000 computers built into it, and it thinks, and it can tighten itself.
Why is that nut so expensive? Well, it holds the propeller on a big cruiser.
No. Let's just say it's a lame, tiny little nut that costs $2,000, and this company is ripping the government off.
Okay, well then, yeah, something needs to be done about that.
Yeah, so
I gotta
so
know
then,
if it-
so then, okay, so with that logic, okay, so something must be done. So let's elect Bernie Sanders so he can spend more of the government's money on more things because that makes sense.
Right.
What?
I love that they're sharing a Facebook page or a group that's called F the Government.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, definitely. Bernie Sanders is definitely anti-government. He wants to shrink it down to almost nothing, saving us trillions in tax dollars. That's exactly what he... I mean,
Yep. That's his platform. That's
you go to his website, and it says F the government on his website, and it's like, we're going to shrink this government down.
That's why I am pro Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Because he's such an anti-government guy
Yep.
that I love it. He doesn't come out and say it all the time, but he's pretty libertarian. He says that he's a socialist, but he's really a libertarian at heart.
Okay, on that joke that you just said.
I'm really glad too.
have
I
you
just
heard
got to
this?
point out, I'm really glad that they shared their source for this. A simple Google search, I just Googled government spending $2,000 for nuts. And it says that they're spending all kinds of stuff for other things, $600 for a hammer, but then there's a thing saying the $600 hammer is a myth. So it's not turning up anything about this.
The concept behind these is like, these are all the people who have to prove the purchasing processes in the government sometimes in like multiple agencies. And so they're compiling all those salaries together. And that's the theory behind some of these numbers, where it's like, oh, well, the guy who's actually using it has a job, and then he has to get it approved from his boss, who gets a budget approved from his boss, who gets a budgetary approval from a council, who has to get insurance because the hammer might be dangerous. Like, they add all that stuff in, but it's not. Yeah, it's easy to fact check.
If anything, well, okay, so maybe this post is meant as like the anti-Bernie people, like as in the Hillary supporters, but I don't think that's what you immediately go to when you think of anti-Bernie.
No.
Because if anything, when healthcare.gov was launched and it was like, oh, this was like $2 billion, $10 billion or whatever to create this website, every freaking conservative was like, what a waste, like government spending out of control, like we need to lock this stuff down, and like no one was like, yeah, way to boost the economy, great, love the free market. Like, no.
They spent so much money on that thing too.
Everyone was against that. Like most conservative people, they're fiscally conservative and they want the government spending as little money as possible.
Right.
So none of them should be okay with spending $2,000 for a nut.
I don't think anyone would look at that and be like, that's a great idea. Let's get more of that.
Okay, so from the NewYorkTimes.com articles called "One Enlists the Campaign Against Waste." The very first is from February 27th. No, published February 28th, 1984.
1984.
Yep. Yep.
Illuminati confirmed.
Yep. It says it was built as one of the world's most expensive Christmas trees, decorated entirely with overpriced military equipment and spare parts. There were, for example, a $9,606 Allen wrench that was worth 12 cents, a $1,118 plastic stool cap worth 17 cents, a $2,043 nut worth 13 cents, on and on and on and on. So, according to this article, way back in 1984, so 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, apparently at one point there was a $2,043 nut worth 13 cents that the Defense Department bought.
Was it for like a good cause?
No, this is saying that this was
because you said it was on a Christmas tree.
It was on a Christmas tree. A senator put this tree together, decorated it with all of these overpriced...
as like a stunt.
As like a stunt to say, look at all these things. Yeah, this Christmas tree is worth, and it's got pay a total of $101,119 for the trimmings.
I see.
So a $100,000 Christmas tree with just Defense Department waste, just little tiny things. So 30 years ago, I mean, maybe. It's kind of surprising that they couldn't get a newer statistic. I mean, look, we're wasting stuff. We're wasting money all over the place. I know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is, we're wasting things on money that the Bernie Sanders supporter idiots, since they're calling us idiots, I'm just returning the favor, since the Bernie Sanders supporter idiots are okay with. right? The socialized, turtle racing studies and crap like that, and throwing money at what
Turtle
they deem to be
racing
science.
studies.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, it was turtle racing. Didn't they, the turtle bridge, right? That was part of the stimulus package. There was a turtle
Is
bridge.
it in the Arizona one?
I don't think there was an Arizona. Was there an Arizona turtle bridge?
No, not for turtles. It was for something else. It was some kind of, what was it? Was it like a ground squirrel or something? They wanted to make a bridge so that they didn't like have to run across the road and get driven over.
Oh.
Or maybe it was for like a shrew. I don't know what it.
I don't know. I can tell you that the round-tailed ground squirrel, which is the primary food source of the rattlesnake, the diamondback rattlesnake here in Arizona, makes a really funny squish sound when you run over it.
Wow.
You're terrible.
I'm just going to tell you right now. Look, go to Casa Grande, the actual Casa Grande, not the city, but the Casa Grande monuments, Casa Grande monuments, right?
Okay.
There are so many ground squirrels that you could swerve as much as you want. You could brake as much as you want. You are going to kill a ground squirrel on your way in from the highway to the Casa Grande monuments. Okay? I wasn't even trying. I literally was just like, I'm just going to drive out of here. I'm going to go the speed limit, and I hit 3. Okay?
Florida did spend $3.4 million from the stimulus package to build a tunnel to help turtles cross a busy highway. There you go.
See? Now, why aren't they saying, oh, we spent $3.4 million on a turtle bridge? Because they're sitting there going,
Oh, no, I agree with that one. The turtle tunnel, yeah, it's not the bridge. The street is actually the bridge. The tunnel goes underneath the street, see? So it's a people bridge. It's a people, it's a people bridge.
why didn't they spin it that way?
We just want to build a people bridge. It's a car bridge. It's a car bridge over the turtle tunnel.
You get my support because there's got to be a way for like Leonardo and Michelangelo, Donatello to get from one side of the road to the other.
That's why I am pro dumping toxic waste. I am hoping that we get Ninja Turtles.
We should all be pro-toxic waste in that case.
Toxic waste gets us cool like superheroes, mutants,
Radioactive Man from The Simpsons?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where would we be without Radioactive Man? Come on.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, yeah, apparently that was true over 30 years ago, and apparently they cannot find another instance of waste to complain about in the last
That was
30
the year
freaking years.
I was born, so they are a little behind.
It's just so weird. Like the crap that gets shared online. Like I had to read it 10 times, I think, because it didn't make sense in my mind how the person who made the status could also share this photo.
Right.
Just totally conflicted.
I think we all have those friends though. They share stuff and you're
This-
like,
I don't
I'm
know,
not sure if
wasn't my
you
friend.
know what that means.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, we talked about it a little bit, I think, last week maybe after the podcast. But I think I want to talk about it now. So we're talking about elections, obviously, because this is a big year.
Yep.
That we perform elections currently. The current system for how we elect.
Like,
Are we talking
like
about
the actual
just
election
the
or the
electoral
primary?
college or
Yeah, the whole system in general. You think it's like pretty good? Think we get like the best candidates out of it?
very beginning primary all the way through?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I want our primary system to change.
Okay.
I don't like the primary system that we've got. I don't, because what happens so many times is that it's like, oh, by the time my guy gets to my state, right? Because we're in Arizona. Arizona's not one of the first few states. It's gotten a little bit earlier. They've pulled it earlier because they wanted it to have a little bit more weight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the population's grown and such.
Yeah, but we're still, after Super Tuesday, if I remember right. And so by that point, half the people have already dropped out. And so it's like, no, I would favor just having, the Republican primary is one day, the Democrat primary same day. You just go. We all elect our candidate on that day, and then it's game on. We know who our candidate is, and number one, I think it would do two things. It would probably open it up for third and even fourth party candidates, which I'm also in favor of.
Okay.
And it would just give you the opportunity. You can't say, oh, well, I'm going to vote for that guy as my fifth choice because my first, second, third, fourth choice. No, you would actually get people going in and voting for their first choice and first choice only. So, yeah, I would like those two changes.
So to kind of pull all the primaries onto one day,
Yep.
so that there's none of this, someone pulling ahead, people dropping out, and then you feeling like you're shortchanged with someone else's candidate.
Yep, go in there and vote for your first choice.
Okay, Adam, you think for the primaries,
Oh, for the primaries,
you think that's a good system?
well, I think that's a better system. The one thing that I fear with that idea is that you'll end up, I think, and you had an argument against this a few weeks ago probably, but I think it's nice when the candidate focuses on each state, because I think what would happen if you did like a one-day thing, your candidates are going to focus in 3 places: New York, Texas, and California, because those are the places, or maybe Florida, right? So big populous places.
No, see, that's for the Democrats might. The Republicans won't. The Republicans have to focus on most of the country because you can't win just by winning New York, California, Texas. Texas is huge, but remember, it's delegates not based on population, but based on registered party population. Yeah. California's not getting you that many delegates. Is it more than Arizona? Yes, more than Arizona,
Sure.
but it's still...
Well, California's, it's to the point that even the population being as vast as it is, it's actually kind of leveled out in recent years.
Because they really suck and people are starting to realize.
People are starting to leave.
Yeah, just had to point that out.
But like when I lived there was a lot of Republicans there. It's just there still wasn't as many as there were Democrats. So like that would be my concern, is that there's some states that may not be as involved because like why is Ohio so important? Like, well, because it's right there at the beginning. Or Iowa.
You mean Iowa?
Yeah. Iowa and New Hampshire. Why is it so important? Like these aren't
It literally
big
is just to show
populations.
momentum.
Yeah,
That's it.
It's just to say we've started. Like
That's the whole. That was kind of my point. Is that it's just Iowa is only there to show the rest of the country I have winnability. Well, shut up about winnability, because the point of a primary is supposed to be for you to pick who you think would be best for the job.
Now
go in there and vote for who you think would be best for the job.
Now I do think it would be interesting to see if maybe you made it regional. Did like 4 regions, like Eastern, Central, Western Central, and a Western. Because then it does kind of break that up, and you have like who has momentum, but it just, the regions are larger. You're not doing like one election every 2 weeks. Now, will that happen? No. The reason why that will never happen is because you have so much more airtime for the media to focus on money being spent and donations and all that stuff if you have each individual state have its. Because we have the Super Tuesday and stuff, which are really, really big. But if we only had 4 Super Tuesdays, then there's only 4 days that the media can get all ramped up about a primary election.
So just FYI, I will stand partially corrected. California is still a whole lot of delegates. It's 172 Republican delegates.
Yeah. Is it down?
I don't know if it's up or down. I'd have to look into it a little more. But when you're talking about like Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's got 71.
Okay.
Right?
Like you wouldn't expect that, but
you probably wouldn't expect that. You've got Georgia, I think it was in the 70s also. North Carolina is 72.
Georgia has some major cities in it. I'm talking about like Montana.
Montana doesn't have a whole lot, but the point of it is you have a whole lot of Republican states that would easily equal either a California or... And Texas actually doesn't have the most. That's surprising. Texas is only 155. So California does have the most, it looks like.
Right. And that might change. I don't know. But I guess my point is you would have a lot of states that be ignored completely.
Yeah, and there wouldn't be each state gets some attention now, and there's a focus on
And there's a little bit less of that, like each state is sovereign where they have their own election. You're going more of like a nationalistic election system rather than like a state election where each candidate has to win each state.
Okay. And then once we get the primaries all settled out and each party has their candidate, are you guys pretty happy with how the national election goes for president? Or
as in the Electoral College?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Electoral College. It's
Okay.
it's the last semblance of federalism that we still have in modern society. The state should have a voice in the national government, and we took away the state's voice by amending the Constitution with the 17th Amendment. For listeners that don't know, the 17th Amendment, before the 17th Amendment, senators used to be elected by the state legislature, and the Senate was supposed to be the voice of the state government at the federal level. Right now, there is no voice of the state government at the federal level. The governors literally just screaming as loud as they can is the only voice that they have.
Yeah, lawsuits and money spent is pretty much the only thing they can do.
And so the electoral college it's federalism, and so it's like we have to have some voice there, and so that's the last one. Yeah. You want to take away the 17th Amendment and give the Senate back to the states, and then amend the electoral college and just have it on a general system. What am I trying to say? Popular vote. Yeah, just have it on a popular vote system. Then okay. I could handle that after you started to give the voice back, but I like it the way it is.
So have you ever heard someone say like, oh, well, the only reason we have the electoral college is because, they don't really have the technology to get every individual person's vote. So that's why they have the electoral college system. But nowadays, like anyone could vote online on the internet. So we should just go to a popular vote. I mean, we could do it, and that way every single person's vote counts.
Everybody's vote counted before. The balloting was just different. I mean, they would open up the box at the precinct and just like literally hand count.
Yeah.
Like, okay, one for Washington.
Yeah, I wouldn't
one
want to
for
go
Washington. Okay, everybody's voting for Washington. Like it would just be like that.
I wouldn't want to go to a popular vote. If you were going to change it, I would be more interested in something like, how many votes does like California have? If you win California,
electoral college?
How many?
Oh, you're talking about on
electoral college.
Electoral college. Hang on,
it's like 38. I don't know. I think it'd be more interesting if each one of those was like a region or county, where California
rather than taking the whole state.
Yeah, where California, because living in California is one of those circumstances where, like L.A. and San Francisco ran the state.
Yeah,
it's a big state with a huge diversity of people, and as we just figured out, has more Republicans in it than Texas does.
According to the great source Wikipedia, which we know is always right. Actually, and I will say they usually are right on this stuff.
Yeah.
California has 55 electors.
55. So essentially, Democrats would win most of California, but there's strong areas where they wouldn't win, where they never win. Areas like where I grew up, where Republicans were a lot more dense, right? So that would change things, make it a little more interesting, where it gets even more to a local level.
Split that up a little bit so it's not, you won the state.
But it's still based on your region. Like it shows the
right, because
your region rather than just like the individual popular vote. Because as we know, the closer we get to democracy, the higher probability that the majority can be a tyranny over the minority.
Well, and I got to imagine, like, okay, so you're talking about California, right? But how many people were so upset when Bush beat Gore by like a handful of votes in Florida, and then like, okay, well now Bush gets all the electoral votes in Florida. That's the end of that, and everyone's like outraged by it. Like
that's the way it works.
That's not fair. Yeah. That's not fair. So like, I think it's kind of a bipartisan thing where there's certainly times in history where it's gone one way, but other times it's gone the other way, and you could say, okay, well, what if we break this up a little bit,
But I would have to say I do have a book on my, and I don't know the name of it, so I can't plug it, on my account to order that specifically I think it's called The Argument for the Electoral College. So I know that I'm fairly ignorant on the history of it, and so I'm not going to say like go into big details and have a strong argument on it. And that's why I'm purchasing this book because obviously the founding fathers had a reason for it. And I'm pretty sure the reason wasn't, counting these things could get hard, which is a stupid argument.
I had a teacher tell me that one time. I was like,
maybe that teacher should become something else. Like,
weren't they worried about like mob rule and stuff like that? Like, wasn't that like a thing they were really concerned about? Like, I think you taught us that in this class, right?
I think you just said that
like
recently.
Like what? Tyranny of the majority? Was that a thing? Yeah. No, well, I just bring it up because I've been talking to my dad a little bit, and he has brought up some interesting system, right? And like, I don't know, we'll talk about it and we'll figure it out. And I don't know that any system's gonna be perfect, but it seems a little weird to me that like in Iowa, for example, right? We talk about how like, oh, Cruz won Iowa and it's so great, but like he really only got like, what was it, 33% of the vote or something, or of the when they were doing the Iowa caucuses.
Yeah. It
was like 33%, and then Trump got like 24, Rubio had 23, and so as he walks away, it's like, oh, Cruz, he came out ahead, and like you look at this, I was like, okay, but that's still like that's not a majority of the state.
Sure, yeah.
That's that's far from it, right? And when you have so many options, right? For the Democrats, it's a little bit different because there's really only the two, I guess 3, right?
Right.
But the Republicans, there's so many that it's often this challenge of people like, okay, like what you were talking about a little bit earlier, Jeremy, is you got to pick the person that you think has a chance of winning, and like hopefully you support them. And then what happens is that kind of steamrolls, and these other people drop out, and then by the time it gets to Arizona or whatever, you're left with only a handful of people,
Right.
And they might not have even been the most popular people just because the vote was so split. And so doing something like you do like a golf, right? Like who's like one of the greatest golfers that you come just immediately pops in your mind?
Tiger Woods. I mean, I think
Tiger
that's
Woods,
like
right?
Phil Mickelson.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang it, name another golfer. Do I know
Any
another
other
golfer?
golfer.
But Tiger Woods doesn't always win, and I'm talking about Tiger Woods like in his heyday, not recently. But Tiger Woods didn't, he wouldn't always come in first. Oftentimes he'd be second or third,
Sure.
but he did that so consistently,
Right.
that he's always at the top. Where like these other guys, it's like, oh, so and so came in first, but then like they just drop out and they never get back there, right? And he just
Right.
consistently hit these like great scores, and like sometimes he'd come in first, but other times he's second or third, or maybe fourth, or he's like a little
Yeah.
bit lower, but like he's always at the top, right? And you're able to establish, okay, like that he's a great golfer because he's consistent, right? And so you get in a situation where like we've talked about it before, that Trump, okay, a lot of people first choice for a lot of people, but hardly anyone's second choice.
Yeah.
He's got his diehard supporters who will vote for him no matter what.
Yep.
But if he dropped out, or if other people drop out, the vote doesn't go to him. It goes somewhere else. And so if you were to rank these people, like if say there's 10 options, 10
Okay.
candidates, and you rank them, your vote is a ranking of your top 10 list in order. Number 1 being Trump, that's your Trump support. Okay, now you got to pick a number 2. Well, who's your second favorite?
Trump.
This is just Trump all 10.
This is literally the system that they use to pick an MVP for, at least for the NBA. I know that for sure. I don't know about other sports.
Why do
When
they do that?
They give it to the media, and they're like, all right, give us your top 5.
Okay.
And they give like first place is 5 points, and then second place, I don't think it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's like 5,
Maybe
3.
it's like 5,
2, 1,
3.
0.
Could be weighted in some way,
I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but why did they do that? Because they're not trying to elect something as important as the president.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think that's a terrible system.
Why?
Ranking them in order of this is my first choice, my second choice. No.
Okay, so okay. So let's say 30% of the people say Trump is the number 1.
Uh-huh.
That means there's 70% of people that could put Trump at like 10th place.
Yeah.
Bottom of the list.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe all those people who said 30% in favor of Trump, maybe their number 2 is Ted Cruz. Okay, he comes in second on their list. I don't know these people. Maybe that's the system, right? And those 70 who like had Trump at the very bottom, maybe their number 1 is Ted Cruz. Well, let's say that wouldn't exactly work because it's 70 and Ted Cruz is 70. But you could if you play with the numbers, you can make it so like, okay, maybe Trump has 30%, and that's the most number 1s, right? So he gets that majority. Like he would win in our current system. But if you averaged it across the board with everyone, maybe Ted Cruz or Rubio or someone comes in second place consistently on every single person's ballot,
Then they would win.
Then you'd walk away and you say, okay, we elected the guy who almost everyone unanimously supported in like a second or third place position, compared to the guy who only got 30% of the vote and 70% of the people hate him, right? Mm-hmm. And you could have a system where you're like, okay, we're picking, maybe it's not your personal number 1, but overall everyone can kind of feel good about it because it's like, oh, okay, yeah, like, yeah, I didn't get my favorite, but like he was my number 2 or number 3. And so that's okay. And we're not walking away with a situation where you're sitting here like, man, I hope Trump doesn't win, right? Because he can just steamroll if he gets like 35%, and then people start dropping out. And then it's like, okay, well then maybe he gets up to 40. And that's still not a majority, but he could still win because the vote gets so split between these other candidates. Where if you had a ranking system, I think the ranking system has some problems. One being that I think people would have a hard time with it. People like to pick their one candidate, right? Mm-hmm. People have their one guy
Right.
or girl, and they say, that's who I'm voting for. And then it's like, all right, well, who's your number 2? And they're like, Trump again, like he said.
Yeah.
Like they don't know.
Trump.
So
I don't know. I have.
You
I
do.
I think that way.
Yes,
I'm like when we had 17 candidates, I was like, okay, here's my 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, and we also sit on a political podcast every week.
That's true. If we got to 5, we'd be screwed. But I had 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm just saying that I do it, and therefore the whole world can.
Yeah. No, I think people could, and I think it would take time for people to get used to it. But I think that would alleviate some of your problems you're having. Like you're saying, okay, let's do it all on the same day, so that people don't just drop out. Well, if you had a system like that, everyone would have a fair shot, and you wouldn't have to play those political games of like, well, okay, I know Carson doesn't have a shot, so I'm going to give my vote to Rubio. Well, no, you could just put Carson as number 1, Rubio as number 2, and you'd feel okay about it because you know that like 2's still pretty good, right?
Pretty good.
And overall, you'd weight it and say, okay, and then I think there would be less of these people who like people look at and they're like, I really like Rand Paul or Carly Fiorina or whoever.
Right.
But like they don't have a shot, so they're not polling very well. So I'm not even going to bother voting for them. I'm going to give it to someone who matters. And then it's not as big of a problem because I think right now the biggest problem we have is that there's so many freaking candidates in the Republican Party. And you're saying, Jeremy, you're like, I hope people start dropping out. Why is it a problem? It's a problem because people have to pick their number 1, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, the system that we have, I think you will get almost the same result because in that system you'll always have the second or third choice. Everybody's second or third choice win, right? As long as you are second or third choice across the board, right? I
mean, not necessarily. If you had like a Ronald Reagan type figure who just like swept it, and like everyone loved the person,
right?
Well, and was number 1 and like got the majority of number 1 vote, Then,
well, you talking about the general or the primary? You can't do it in the general because there's only 2 people.
Well, you could, so what if you had in the general election, you have a third or fourth party candidate, right? And you rank them 1 through 4.
If you had an
Are you allowed to vote a 0 on somebody? Like if you only go, okay,
or not vote at all,
I would vote for, let's see, the Republican first, the Libertarian second, the Constitution Party third, and no one else, and I don't want them to receive any points from my ballot. Because that's another problem. I don't want to put Donald Trump on my ballot at all. Right? You say, what's your top 10? I'll give you my top 4, and I want 0s for everybody else. I want them to receive no points from me.
No, you can't do that.
Then I don't like it. I do not want to give them any points. I do not want Donald Trump. I'm not going to get back
because what would happen
to the judgment and have to explain to whoever I'm talking to how Donald Trump got points from me.
No, because
I'm
what would
not
happen,
going to do that.
Well, people would just default to what they know, and they would say, okay, number 1 is Trump, and the rest are blank. They get 0. That's what would happen. So you'd have to force people to be, no, you have
That's
to,
fine. That's fine. If
them.
they want to do that, that's fine. If Trump supporters were that stupid, which they might be, then they wouldn't be realizing that they would be costing Trump the vote. Because under that system, if you give Trump number 1 and he only gets 30% of the number 1s, and he's not getting any second, third, fourth place votes.
No. I'm talking like those people. They put Trump and they write 0. Okay.
No, we're good.
My headset went weird. The other people would still do it, and so other people would have Trump at like 5th or 6th or whatever, and so that'd be shuffling points his way. But the people who voted for Trump wouldn't be giving points the other way.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So you'd have to force people to say, no, you got to rank them.
People have made I've seen this argument before online.
I'm not doing it.
Okay, so NASCAR, right? Mm-hmm. Most NASCAR races, it's like a series of races, right?
The season is a bunch of races,
and
you
they
get
say
points for every race.
Like Jeff Gordon, like a great NASCAR driver, like
he averaged being like in the top 5,
right? Consistently,
right?
And so everyone's like, "Yeah, Jeff Gordon the best." It's like, no, we didn't get number 1. But the guy who got number 1 was just a fluke or whatever. He had a good day or something. And so I think while not perfect, it still has problems. I still think it's better, especially in a system when you have so many different options. If you have just like, okay, it's Trump or Hillary, right? Oh, well, okay, it's one or the other, and it's fine the way we do it. But when you have 15 or whatever, I don't know what crazy number it was.
The Republicans?
Yeah.
17.
17?
Yeah.
It's like, there are people just getting screwed, and you know that there's people who they want to vote for them. Like, there's probably some really diehard Jeb Bush supporters, and they're like, well, he's not polling very well, so I got to vote for somebody. And then they just, I'm like, I want that person to feel like they got to vote for Jeb Bush if that's who they really want.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want them to have to do the mental gymnastics of like having to like think. And I know not a lot of people are doing that. Some people just like, they just vote for whoever. But there is a lot of like a game to it, right? And if you just had it a little bit more complicated for the sake of simplicity.
Mm-hmm. No, see, I might sound like I'm joking, but I'm totally not. I do not want to cast a vote. I don't want anybody to get points from me if I totally am like opposed to them 100%, which I am totally opposed to Trump 100%, and Kasich and Bush. And
you give a 10 is like terrible. If they're ranked at the bottom, that's like essentially no points.
Yeah, I get it, but they still get something from my ballot, and I'm not okay with that.
Minuscule,
but it's something.
But you got to think of all the other people though who like aren't.
Wait,
it's like okay, so who do you like, Jeremy?
If you write in number 15, will they get
right now?
minus
Cruz was
points?
my
okay. So you like
wait. I like Adam's question. Can we subtract points if we put them low enough?
No.
So, okay. What's your question? Go ahead.
So you like Ted Cruz? Okay,
yeah, he's my first choice right now.
And you're like,
actually
man,
my second.
I don't want to give any points to Donald Trump.
Right.
I don't even at a 10. That's too many points for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
But don't you like a system where Trump supporters have to give points to Ted Cruz?
No, not if they're opposed to him.
But they put him at 10.
I don't want to. No, but they're still giving him something. I don't want them to be forced to give him any points, or it's as if let's call them votes, right? Because we're calling them points right now. But let's say you're allotted, 20 votes or whatever it is. However, it would be divided by however many candidates you actually have. I don't want him to get any of my 20 votes because I am literally opposed to him. I don't want him to get anything from me. It's like, okay, if you said, okay, look, we've got this really great charity, okay, and you got $1 and you can give it to whoever you want, but we're actually going to take, about 25 cents and we're going to divide it among some other charities. And it's like, yeah, you're going to give 75 cents to like the American Red Cross, or actually they were the ones that like lost $1 billion or whatever it was, but somebody really good, right? But the 25 cents is actually going to go to Planned Parenthood. You're cool with that, right? No, I'm not cool with that because I'm giving money to somebody I don't believe in, and be like, but it's only a quarter, man. We're giving you a lot of money, but I still have to give a quarter to somebody that I'm literally opposed to their existence in that case.
But that's a little different though, because in your situation, Planned Parenthood is walking away with money at the end of the day. In this situation, one person only wins.
Right, but he's still walking away with part of my vote at the end of the day.
But he doesn't win, right?
Maybe he doesn't win.
Maybe he does though. But if he does, then it's probably a pretty good chance that the majority of the country was okay with it. Whereas I currently like that you can't say that. But the person who wins right now, the primary, could be like the most unpopular person, but they still managed to secure a significant enough portion of the vote that they got the majority because it got watered down across everyone else.
Now, see, we're only saying that right now because of Trump, right? We're only talking about this because of Trump and the situation that we're in early in the primary.
Yeah.
Right? Trump's not going to have a chance as it goes on later. Okay? People are going to drop out, and what's remaining is going to concentrate behind another candidate, probably either Cruz or Rubio, and one of them is going to win the candidacy. Okay? That's what's going to happen, and we're going to go, oh, well, yeah, see, most people's, among their top pick was Cruz or Rubio, and they ended up winning. So you're not going to have a grossly unpopular guy win the election. It's just not going to happen.
It could.
It's not going to happen because you still have to.
So Trump, Cruz, and Rubio. 3 people who you think it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
What? So let's say. Okay.
As soon as either Cruz or Rubio drops out, we're going to be laughing about this conversation because one of them is.
But what
all
if
of their
don't?
votes is going to the other person.
We've been talking about people dropping out for a long time, and no one has.
Yes, they have.
Some people.
We're down to like 6 candidates now. We're down from 17 to 6.
That's still too many.
Every state that goes by, somebody drops out.
Right. Okay. So who's your favorite guy?
Rand Paul, and he's out.
Okay, so in a system like this, you could have Rand Paul coming in third for everyone. And guess what? It comes down to Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, and Rubio, and Trump's not even an option. What do you think about that?
Why would that scenario even happen under this?
Because maybe Rand Paul is third place for a majority of people. They're like, I like Ted Cruz, I like Marco Rubio, and you're like, I like Rand Paul too. Like, I'm going to put him up there. But right now, he doesn't get anything because they're just like, well, I'm going to vote for Ted Cruz. And so he gets squat. And the only people who vote for him are the diehard people who like don't care that he's going to drop out, and they're like, I'm still voting for him, no matter what. Mm-hmm. And then it comes down to Arizona, and he's not even an option for you. You can't even vote for the guy.
Okay, so let me put it to you this way. Okay, so let's say who's your number one right now? Do you like Cruz?
Yeah,
you like Cruz?
yeah.
Okay, so your number one is Cruz right now. Mm-hmm. Let's pretend that the election is actually Cruz,
Okay.
Trump,
Okay.
Stalin, Hitler,
Okay.
and Satan.
Okay.
You're okay with Stalin, Hitler, and Satan getting a piece of your vote?
Yes.
No! I want that sound clip to be all over the news tomorrow. Strons van der Ploeg is okay with voting for Stalin, Hitler, and Satan.
No, I'm not. I'm ranking them. I'm still putting my number one as who I think, and the other people who are options.
But
like,
you've got to have them ranked as 0. Like, no, I don't want to insinuate they're my third or fourth choice. They're not a choice. They are a 0.
Okay, I'm sure you can rank Stalin, Hitler, and Satan. You have to be able to.
No, I can't.
You can't rank Stalin, Hitler, and Satan.
No, I can't rank them at all. I wouldn't vote for them. I don't want them to get anything.
But who's the worst?
Okay, Satan's probably the worst.
Okay, who's second worst?
Richard Simmons is.
Richard Simmons?
Oh, he
really?
wasn't on the ballot? I just.
Richard Simmons.
You can't
He's
write-
just kind of annoying.
Yeah, well, let's see. Stalin, Hitler, Satan, Richard Simmons.
Okay,
I
so
would put
Satan's-
Simmons in between Hitler and Stalin. I'm just kidding.
So Satan's the worst.
Okay, I couldn't pick between Hitler and Stalin because they were both really freaking evil dudes.
Yeah, but which one is like slightly less worse?
Dude,
If
Stalin
you're
was
asking that
awful.
question, you don't know. If you're asking that question, you don't know.
In your opinion,
No, I can't pick. I'm telling you, in
You
my
can't
opinion.
pick.
No, why would I be able to pick? Stalin, I'm pretty sure, was responsible for more death than Hitler was, and
Yep.
it wasn't a focused group. We talk about the genocide of the Jews, and people are like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's like 8 million or whatever it was, right?" I don't remember the
Yeah.
number off the top of my head. Stalin starved 20 million people to death in Ukraine. It just
Okay.
was a nation instead of an ethnic group, and so we talk a lot more about
Stalin-
the Jews.
The communists were.
The communists
bad.
were bad people. So no, I can't pick. They were both literally mass murderers.
okay.
So and it's like, yeah, communism versus national socialism. I don't want either one of them. They're both evil. I don't know. So no, I can't rank either one of them because I'm smart.
But you have to. But you have to, because that's the rules.
Okay.
You don't have to right now. I'm just saying, like on this ballot, you have to.
It's an interesting concept.
and like and okay, in this crazy scenario where these people are somehow running after being dead and potentially, depending on your beliefs, real or not real. People have, they can run, they can do their thing, and they can be, Jeb Bush is out there, Chris Christie was out there, is he still in?
No, he dropped out.
He dropped out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have these different options, and yes, you can rank them, because I think of realistic people who are actually running, you could probably put a top 10 list together and say, yep, maybe Trump's at the bottom. Probably. I'm talking to you. I don't know if that's actually the case.
No, can't. Literally, when we had 17, I had a top 4, and everybody else, I'm like, can't vote for you.
But you could still rank them compared to one another, couldn't you?
Yeah, but that's to insinuate they're going to get a piece of my vote. I could say, well, I guess like Bush is slightly better than Kasich. Like maybe, but I wouldn't vote for either one of them. If Bush or Kasich gets the nomination, I won't vote for either one of them. I will be writing in me or I'm writing Adam.
Yes.
Adam seems like a good pick.
Got him.
But why would that happen if they won the primary?
If they why would what happen? Why would I not vote for them?
No, I'm saying how in our system, like you're saying, like, oh, if this were the case, like that would happen because of our current system.
Right.
It could anyway.
It could. Yeah, Mitt Romney won last time, and he was like everybody's third choice, which is basically the way that it happens now. Is everybody's third choice wins. But what's funny is under your system, pretty much everybody's second or third choice would probably win.
Well, I mean, it depends if you have a character like Trump in there or not.
Does it? Why?
Because Trump, okay, if he gets a large enough fan base of support, let's say 35%, 35% vote for Trump. Okay, and it comes down to Trump, Cruz, and Rubio. 3 people split across, 100%, and maybe there's like a fourth person who's like just like, oh, I'm still hanging in there. Trump could win.
I mean, I guess.
He could.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. You know what's great, Strauns? You know what's freaking great is that we have 50 United States, and if one of them wants to adopt this system for their primary vote, they can, and we can see how it goes in that state. You know what? So let's give it to freaking
California.
California, take it. So the state of Jefferson, once you exist, I want you to adopt this system. Once California splits into 5.
I think talking about basketball MVPs and stuff. Like I think the reason they do that is I think it's a more fair system in terms of actually gathering like.
Fairness is what America was built on. So.
Thank you, Bernie Sanders.
In terms of actually figuring out what people think in terms of like the pulse of the nation, right? Like what people actually feel. I think you get more of that rather than just like, oh, you've got one vote and it goes to one person. That's who it is. I think it makes it more, but I don't think it'll happen, right? Because people don't like change. It's not the way it is. So
they hope for change. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, I'm throwing out 2 presidential slogans essentially.
people don't want to think about it because it's like, oh no, it's the way we do it's the best because that's the way we do it. It's like, well, no. Like if you run the math figures on it and say like, look at these scenarios and break it down by like how people could actually vote, and realistically, you could see, okay, oh wow, well in that scenario Trump wins, but like if we did it this other way, like he wouldn't even have a chance. So it's just a matter of how but we can't. That stuff you can't talk about on a podcast because I'm not going to sit here and talk about numbers and like, rank.
So if you take this 37%,
no one wants to listen to that.
So what I gathered from all that.
Once again,
you're going with Cruz.
Welcome back to the podcast, Adam.
Yeah,
Cruz.
Yeah.
Cruz.
Uh-huh.
As in me.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at myself. Guess whose company we are in, good sirs.
Whose company?
Thomas Sowell endorses Ted Cruz for president.
Thomas Sowell did? Cool.
Yes.
Good for him.
I knew we were as smart as one of the greatest geniuses who ever walked the face of the planet.
Well, I know I am, and I'm pretty sure I convinced you both to vote for Ted Cruz. So I'm going to just go ahead and rank myself there.
No, I think
you guys will make it someday.
If Ted Cruz has definitely said some stuff where I'm like we talked about it last week.
Yeah, you're
giving him crap for
a little peeved about.
Where he's like
those gays.
Yeah, basically.
Trying to get.
So
he
says stuff that I'm like, I don't not 100% with you on that one, but for the most part, I think when he says something, I hope it's what he actually believes.
He's been pretty consistent with his record versus what he ran on.
Yeah.
And so I feel like because of that, and his marketing's really good based on that, because it's that whole trusted Ted thing. Mm-hmm. But I think, actually, from his record versus what he runs on, that they're pretty consistent. It's not like Jeb Bush. It's not like Chris Christie. Well, actually, Chris Christie is pretty consistent too. Only the fact that I think he mixes up what are conservative principles and what aren't. But what he says he'll do, he typically does. Ted Cruz is like that. I've noticed that. And that's kind of why I'm going behind him. But, because we're going to wrap things up.
Yeah.
There is a 1 minute 30-second video clip from the MSNBC sit-down debate thing that they did that I think we just need to listen to.
All right, play.
Okay.
Mr. Trump. I wanted to describe a candidate to you. The candidate is considered a political outsider by all the pundits. He's tapping into the anger of the voters, delivers a populist message. He believes everyone in the country should have health care. He advocates for hedge fund managers to pay higher taxes. He's drawing thousands of people at his rallies and bringing in a lot of new voters to the political process. And he's not beholden to any super PAC. Who am I describing?
Or any special interests or any donors. You're describing Donald Trump.
Actually, I was describing Bernie Sanders.
Boom! I'll tell you, we're different in one primary. I'll tell you, there's one thing that we're very similar on. He knows that our country is being ripped off big league on trade.
Now he's able to turn it around, but I was like, that is so perfect. Give it up to MSNBC. To ask a gotcha question like that, but that's one thing where I was like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that particular one.
All right. Well, I think we should wrap it up because I'm tired and I need to get some sleep. But is there any last closing comments you guys would like to make?
You're gonna get home, play video games.
I will never
That
give
may happen.
any points to Donald Trump.
None?
No points to
But
Donald
you give
Trump.
some to Satan because you did.
I did not give any to
You
Satan.
ranked him at the bottom, and he gets points for that. So, just saying.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel better about ranking Satan than I do about ranking Donald Trump.
Wow. All right. Thank you.
And by the way, so does the Pope.
Ideas, inspiration, information. Three-headed eagle.
Anyone? Anyone?
The Pope really doesn't like Donald Trump. Did you guys see that?
I don't think Donald Trump likes the Pope.
Well, Donald Trump has never asked for forgiveness from anyone.
Well, that was an exciting topic. Thanks.
Oh, no, I am tired. There you go. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Pretty tired myself.
Stop the Periscope stream.
Bye, Periscope people.
Bye.
What are our stats this time?